A new terror threat is brewing in Kashmir. The enemy is an old one, but in a new avatar. It is going after innocent civilians. This month, 11 people have died in the valley. The latest attack was on Sunday. The target were migrant laborers. 2 civilians were gunned down in the Kulgam district. They hail from Bihar. They were working in Kashmir. Terrorists barged into their rented accommodation and fired on them point blank. And this fits a pattern, an unmistakable surge in terrorist activity supported and sustained by terrorist groups across the border. Security agencies point to Pakistani involvement. A new battle plan has been leaked. On Gravitas tonight, we'll bring you up to speed on how the Taliban's rise in Afghanistan is already having a spillover effect on Kashmir. We'll start with the attacks that happened this weekend. Migrant workers were targeted twice in 24 hours. On Saturday, a street vendor and a carpenter were shot dead. These were 2 separate attacks carried out by 2 separate groups, 2 new groups. Sunday's attack too was carried out by a new group with a new name. You could say, in fact, these are the new brands from the same old terror factory. Which are these groups? The first one is the Islamic State Wilaya Hind. It is believed to be an affiliate of the Islamic State. This group killed the street vendor in Srinagar. The second is the Resistance Front. Indian security officials say that this is a front for 2 Pakistani terrorist groups, the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Hizbul Mujahideen. The Resistance Front has taken responsibility for killing the carpenter in Pulwama. Sunday's attack was claimed by the United Liberation Front. It is an affiliate of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. So we have 3 groups with 3 different names and one mission to wage a war on India, to ride on the momentum they gained in Afghanistan. If one terrorist group can take over a country and claim to be government, what's stopping others from pushing their luck? For 2 months now, we've been underlining this threat that India faces, and now we are seeing it in action. After the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, Pakistani terrorists have trained their guns on India. Their terror factories continue producing terrorists, but with a different packaging. With a mission given by the ISI, that's Pakistan's spy agency, more like their dirty works department, they have come up with a new blueprint on Kashmir. And I have a copy of it right here. This is what it says. The ISI has given these terrorists some specific targets. They've been asked to attack every non-local official. Those who come to the valley for a stay, Kashmiri Pandits, those who want to shift back, every worker who is not a quote-unquote native of Jammu and Kashmir, irrespective of where they come from or where they work. Houses of Jammu and Kashmir police officials, heads of educational institutions, government properties like development projects, bridges, schools, colleges and sports infrastructure, all of these are reportedly on the hit list. What does the ISI hope to achieve with this? This is a mission to create civic unrest, divide Kashmiris from the rest of their countrymen and women, and isolate those who support the Indian government and its development initiatives. Once again, this blueprint has specific instructions on how to deal with outsiders and informers. That's how they classify people. It says petrol bombs must be thrown at informers. Non-locals need to be warned to leave the valley at the earliest. Sports events must be boycotted. The Indian government and the armed forces must be dealt with harshly. Dependence on non-locals, meaning citizens from other parts of India, must be reduced. And finally, these terror operations must be expanded beyond Jammu and Kashmir. This is the plan from Pakistan, clearly laid out objectives for Pakistan's terror proxies. Who will carry out these orders? Pakistan is sending trained manpower to accomplish this mission. Infiltration attempts have seen a sharp uptick. Since July, 50 terrorists have infiltrated into Jammu and Kashmir. Indian security forces have conducted 36 operations. At least 86 terrorists have been killed, 18 in Kashmir, 6 in Jammu. Half of these terrorists were believed to be members of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. So the crackdown has been swift and targeted, but that has not stopped the infiltration bids or the terror attacks that have followed. India is going to need more than the military option to counter Pakistani terrorism in the valley. India will also have to build diplomatic pressure to rein in terrorists backed by Rawalpindi and terrorists given a safe haven by Kabul. This week, Indian diplomats will participate in a critical dialogue. It is happening in Moscow on Wednesday. It's called the Moscow format. The Taliban are invited. Also present will be representatives from China, Pakistan and Iran. So the Indian side is going to be sitting across the table with the Taliban, and this will be their first official interaction since the Taliban named their cabinet. The first official contact between India and the Taliban happened in the month of August. The Indian ambassador to Qatar met a delegation of the Taliban. The meeting took place at the Taliban's request. We are told India used the opportunity to raise the issue of terrorism. It sounds all wrong, I know, raising the issue of terrorism with terrorists, but that's the world we live in. India told the Taliban to ensure that Afghanistan is not used for anti-Indian activities. That, we were told, was the red line for India. The Taliban have not honored it. Pakistani terrorist groups are setting up base in Afghanistan. An influx into India is a clear and present danger. An impact on Indian security situation is already evident. Reports say Indian forces have now intensified patrols near Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Some army camps have been fortified. The Taliban's rise has opened a portal for Pakistan to send in more terrorists to Kashmir. India will have to act fast to close this portal. Otherwise, New Delhi could lose the gains it made after revoking the special status to Kashmir. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.